Okay, everyone, I know you don't usually hear me address you guys, but this is the last chapter of Crookedstars Promise, and I just wanted to ask everyone to just comment down below if you want me to continue doing novellas and super editions, or if you want me to focus on the main series, like The Prophecy Begins and all that, and just continue on from there. And then after I'm done with all that, to just move on to super editions and novellas. Just let me know in the comments below. Now on to the actual book. Warriors, Crookedstars Promise by Erin Hunter, Chapter 40. Crookestar nosed his way through the moss, draping his den. Dawn was flooding the sky. Timberfur was already beside the reed bed, organizing the patrols. Frogleap, Ecomist, Alfer, and Lakeshine clustered around him. Reedtail and Skyheart hurried from their den, closely followed by Blackclaw and Loudbelly. Crookestar watched them listen to Timberfur's orders. All of RiverClan's warriors keen and ready for duty, loyal to their clan and expecting nothing but the same from their leader. Ecomist, you take Skyheart and Reedtail fishing. Timberfur meowed. Head upstream. We've been overfishing beside the stepping stones. Alfer, you take... He glanced up as Crookestar walked into the clearing. His expression was somber, clouded as he studied his leader. Crookestar tried not to flinch, as one by one the warriors snatched a look at him before turning away, pelts pricking with unease. Suddenly Crookestar felt like a kid again, leaving the medicine den for the first time after he'd broken his jaw. But this was worse. They don't know how to comfort you. Brownberry's me snapped him back to the present. She stopped beside him, smelling of herbs and dew, and dropped a bundle of fresh leaves on the ground. There's nothing they can do, Crookestar rasped. It was his first dawn without Willow Breeze. He could hardly believe the sun had risen. How's Severke? He asked quietly. She's fine. I'll tell her you asked after her. Brownberry glanced at her herb-stained paws. I've been collecting marigold for her, just to be safe. She doesn't have any symptoms, but I don't think we can be too careful. Crookestar cut her off. I have to talk to you. His ears twitched. Alone. He led her out of camp and down to the shore, padding out to a wide flat stone that jutted at the water's edge. The willows were starting to brown. Crookedstars watched a leaf flutter onto the river. The water swirled it and carried it gently away. Well, Brownberry prompted. I didn't tell you everything. Crookedstars searched the medicine cat's gaze, frightened of what he'd find. She might never trust him again. She blinked. Go on. I wasn't just trained by a cat from the dark forest. Crookedstars felt hot. I made a promise to her. She told me she'd give me everything I've ever dreamed of. She told me I'd be leader, but I had to promise to be loyal to my clan above all other things. He waited for Brownberry to comment, but she just watched him. It seemed like such a small promise, he went on. Of course I'd be loyal to my clan. I'd always be loyal to my clan. But she wanted me to promise loyalty above all other things. The words felt sour on his tongue. What did she mean by that? I didn't ask. I just assumed it would be easy. His shoulders sagged. I didn't realize she meant I'd have to sacrifice every cat I ever loved. You mean Willow Breeze? Brownberry asked. And Rainflower and Hailstar. We didn't sacrifice them. Brownberry stared at him in dismay. It was their time to die. It had nothing to do with you. But it did. Crookedstars lashed his tail. They'd still be alive if I hadn't made my promise, and Oakheart would never... He stopped himself. Brownberry didn't have to know Oakheart had betrayed his clan with the ThunderClan cat. He swung his head miserably. Things would have been different if I hadn't been so determined to become leader. Mapleshade would have left the clan alone. I have to stop being leader. Now that Brownberry knew it was his fault that RiverClan had lost so much, she'd make StarClan take back his lives. Crookestar hung his head and stared at the flat gray stone beneath his paws. He deserved it. Brownberry narrowed her eyes. Why are you so certain that things would have been so different? Does this dark forest cat really have the power to change a clan's destiny? There was a challenge in her gaze. Do you? Are you really so powerful that you can hold the lives of cats in your claws, even when StarClan can't? Crookedstars shifted his paws, his fur crawling with confusion. Oh, Crookedstar. Brownberry's eyes glistened. You've had to walk a dark and terrible path alone. She climbed to the stone beside him and leaned against his flank. None of these deaths are your fault. I doubt if they're Mapleshade's fault, either. Sometimes bad things happen for no reason, or for reasons we can't begin to understand. She sat back and held his gaze. Please never feel like you need to suffer alone again. I will always be on your side. I am your medicine cat. You can trust me with anything. Really? Crookedstars swallowed the emotions that bubbled in his throat. Really. Brambleberry licked him on the cheek, and hopefully Mapleshade has had her revenge and will leave you in peace. For the first time since he was a kid, Crookedstar felt free. He shared his secret completely. He felt light, relief washing his pelt. Let's get back to camp. He hopped off the stone. Timberfur may need help with the patrols. He'd faced the clan after he'd broken his jaw. He could face them now. They were his clanmates. He was their leader. They needed him as much as he needed them. What about Silverkit? Brambleberry's question took him by surprise. Sunfish is looking after her, isn't she? I'm sure she'd like to see her father. Later, Crookedstar leaped up the bank. I have patrols to organize. Beetlenose swarmed through the reeds and hopped onto the shore. Water streamed from his crow-black pelt. A minnow dangled from his jaws. Is that for Sunfish? Shimmerpelt called. Should I take it to her? Beetlenose shook his head and headed for the nursery. Crookedstar watched from the shade of the willow. He guessed Beetlenose wanted to see Vixen Kit and Grass Kit. The black Tom had been padding proudly around the camp ever since his kits had been born, making excuses to visit the nursery every chance he could. Shimmerpelt crossed the clearing and sat beside Crookedstar. Why don't you go visit Silverkit? She prompted. It'll be too crowded. Crookedstar watched Beetlenose disappear into the den. The quarter moon had passed since Willowbreeze had died. The clan still trod quietly around him, careful of his grief, but he was determined to prove that Hellstar had made the right choice and he could lead the clan whatever happened. He was happy Sunfish had kidded, providing littermates for his motherless daughter. Silverkit had a family of her own now. She didn't need him, and with Leafbear just around the next bend, there was so much to do. He was far too busy to visit the nursery. He signaled to Petalus and Frogleap with his tail. They were weaving reeds into the elder's den to strengthen it for the coming cold moons. What is it? Frogleap hurried down the slope and crossed the clearing. Petalus finished tucking in the end of a stray reed before trotting after him. The freshco pile's looking a bit bare. Crookedstar meowed to Frogleap. Take Reedtail, Leopard Fur, and Blackclaw hunting. He turned to Petalus. I'd like you to take Cedarpearl, Softwing, and Rippleclaw to check the Sunning Rock's boundary. Petalus shifted her paws. Timberfur checked it this morning. Then check it again, Crookedstar snapped. Shimmerpelt got to her paws and headed towards the elder's den. I'd better finish weaving those reeds, she meowed. There was a trace of disapproval in her tone, but Crookedstar ignored it. Warriors shouldn't question his orders. He crossed the clearing, kicking through the willow leaves littering the ground. He slowed as he passed the nursery. Beetlenose hopped out. Silverkit is quite a pawful, but so cute. Purring, he darted into the reeds at the edge of the clearing. Crookedstar pricked his ears, leaning closer to the nursery wall. He could hear tiny paws scrabbling across the reed nest. I'm the biggest. I get to go first. That must be Silverkit. He wondered how much she'd grown. Were her markings like Willowbreeze's? Sunfish, she won't let me into the nest. Hush, Vixen Kit, Sunfish soothed. She'll let you in if you ask nicely. Silverkit piped up again. I'm just trying to make you grow, she squeaked. Oh, hurry up and get bigger. I want to go out and explore the camp. Crookedstar heard paws scuffle on the ground behind him. He turned surprised to see Oakheart. Why don't you go in and see her? Oakheart meowed. I've got other things to worry about. Really? Oakheart's ears twitched. You can't avoid her forever, you know. She's going to be racing around camp, playing hunt and the frog before you know it. He narrowed his eyes. Don't you want her to know who her father is? Crookedstar scowled. What, like your kids know who their father is? Oakheart flinched. That was different. I was always there for them, hunting for them, playing with them. Silverkit hardly knows you exist. Leave me alone. Crookedstar turned away. It's none of your business. Oakheart ducked in front of him. Actually, it is my business. He thrust his muzzle closer. You're my littermate. Silverkit is my kin too. You're being a fish brain and every cat knows it. I'm just the only cat brave enough to tell you. Brave? You? Crookedstar snorted. You couldn't even tell me that Bluefur was expecting your kits. If she hadn't dumped them on you so she could be deputy, it'd still be a secret. Really? Really? Crookedstar flexed his claws. Don't pretend you understand how I feel because you don't. No, I don't, Oakheart spat back. But I do understand. There's a kitten there whose father doesn't want anything to do with her. His pelt bristled. How can you lead a clan when you won't even take responsibility for your own kit? Like you did? Like I've done. Oakheart glared at him. I don't know how you can let her grow up thinking you don't love her. He turned away, shaking his head. You, more than anyone, should know how terrible that feels, but you're doing it to your own kit. Fury exploded inside Crookedstar. How dare you accuse me of that? Hissing, he lunged at Oakheart and flung him to the ground. Oakheart yelled in rage and swiped at Crookedstar's muzzle. Crookedstars gasped as Oakheart claws raked his cheek. You snakeheart! Running up on his haunches, he slammed his front paws down on Oakhart's chest. Oakheart grunted and rolled away, springing to his paws. He crouched down, facing Crookedstars with his tail swishing, eyes like slits. Stop them! Shimmerpout raced across the clearing. Timberfir shot out from the warrior's head and circled them, bristling. Let them fight, Woodford called as climbed away. Sometimes it's the only way. Crookedstars glared at his brother, growling. I'm nothing like Rainflower. I'm doing what's best for Silverkid. I bet Rainflower thought she was doing the right thing too, Oakheart hissed. I bet she made excuses just like you. That's not true. Crookedstars sprang, kicking out his hind legs, slashing with his forepaws in a move he had seen practiced over and over in a forest where the trees were gray and slimy and starlight never broke the leaves. What am I doing? Horror seized him as he realized he was about to use the Thistleclaw's killing move on his brother. He righted in the air, twisting just in time, and thumped clumsily onto the ground. Oakheart stood over him. Finished? He snarled. Crookedstars looked up at him. Grief tightened his throat. How can I love her when every cat I love dies? Oakheart's eyes clouded. I'm still here. Crookedstars got slowly to his paws. You're here for now. Oakheart stared at him. It's a risk every cat has to take. Would you rather have no feelings at all? Do you wish you'd never loved Willowbreeze? His mood trembled. Where's your courage, Crookedstar? A squeak sounded from the nursery. Sunfish, Sunfish! Silverkid was staring from the entrance, her eyes stretched wide. The big warriors are fighting. Oakheart nudged Crookedstar. Go on, he whispered. Taking a deep breath, Crookedstar forced himself to walk toward the nursery. When you feel doubt, let your heart lead you forward, not back. Hellstar's words echoed in his ears. StarClan had trusted him to give him 9 lives. Crookedstar had to prove that he was worth it. He leaned forward and touched Silverkid's ears with his muzzle. It's okay, nobody's hurt. The little cat flinched away, trembling. Don't be frightened, Crookedstar soothed. We're not really fighting. She smells like Willowbreeze. Her fur was just as soft, and the markings on her head matched her brother's exactly. We're training, that's all. Everything's fine. Silverkid took a step forward and peered past him at Oakheart, who was standing on the far side of the clearing, watching them. Then she stared up at Crookedstar, her bright blue eyes shimmering. She was so like her mother, and like him too, in the shape of her ears and the length of her tail. Crookedstar gazed down at her, feeling a lifetime of hope open up in front of him. For the first time that day, he felt the warmth of the sun watch over us, Willowbreeze. We still need you. You're really just training? Silverkid mewed. Do you promise? I promise. Crookedstar ached with joy. I'm your father, Silverkid, and that means I will always